And then June 6th, the direct action all over the U.S. and we did have a rally here. Yeah. We had a rally here in Vancouver.
To protest the DEA.
Yeah, to protest the DEA and their involvement and their intrusions and their...
Hopefully that'll go on every year, June 6th. That's a good date.
Well, I think there'll be more and more militant action. There were some lockdowns, people basically interfering with the flow
that was a great one
in front of the doors.
The Justice Department.
That's right.
People in Washington need to be commended for that one.
And we need more militancy like that to just show us, show the world
that
we're at the end of our road.
They do crack your skull here. David knows about it. He's been pepper sprayed and
well, you know,
in the United States they really crank you though.
Well, your choices one day might be to get busted in front of all your friends with your friends, or one by one by yourself. So don't fear getting busted. Just fear getting busted on their terms.
Yeah, I like getting as a person who's been arrested 10 times, I liked it when they arrested me in front of people. I felt somewhat more comfortable.
That's right. You got the camera going on it. It will blow back in their face all the more easily. It's like our lightsabers, Jedis.
So we did that in June 6th.
June 6th, July 1st, fantastic rally. Cannabis Day, huge in Vancouver.
Well, yeah, that's just our big party. The real rally is when we go to...
March?
Yeah,
in May?
No, Million Marijuana March.
Yeah,
that's our serious march.
That's our serious
July
march.
1st is way more fun because
Very
it's just
social.
a big party.
Yeah.
And we take over the whole art gallery area, and
that's
great. And everybody lets us do it, so we have several acres to party there.
Many musicians.
Right in the downtown, and nobody gives us a hard time. It's good.
Lots of good music.
We didn't even have any cops this year, though. That's a first. There was like 2 cops parked, and the rest of the cops figured, okay.
The Prince of Pot Cannabis Cruise episode.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun show.
Yeah, you did have a good time there, I recall.
Yeah.
And then John Stossel came out in July with his War on Drugs, War on Ourselves, which has rocketed its way to the top of the charts here at the most requested, most highest rated shows on Pod TV.
And it is a great show.
Yeah, so check that out if you haven't. And August...
They raided somebody.
They
locked down all the cars on the ferry and brought sniffer dogs in on a ferry run. In Vancouver, on the coast, we live near islands, and there's lots of ferries go from the mainland to the various islands. And of course, a lot of those islands grow pot, and the police started doing sort of random checks on cars there, which we thought was really bad, never been done before. So we went and sprayed marijuana oil all over the ferries for several days in a row. We sprinkled shake in every possible spot in the ferry, so it would drive the dogs nuts, basically, if they continue to do it. They did not, in fact, the police have not come on board since then. The ferries got a big, huge heap of bad publicity for letting that happen.
Yeah,
and
they did.
I'm sure our efforts have had some hand in deterring the police from doing random searches on the ferries again. And that's what you got to do. You've got to meet every action of the police with an equal and opposite and potentially stronger reaction.
Yeah, it's
to almost make it like not worth their while to do those things.
It's just a matter of keeping your dignity somehow and your spirits up. You don't let them win anything. Here we got September. September stands for Senate Committee.
Actually, we went to the Senate Committee, though.
We did. We were there 2 or 3 times.
When was that? That was in May. That's in our May thing.
They came a couple of times, March, May. And
we're busy. We've got so many things we did this year we can't even tell you all of them. But we testified before Canada's Senate. So we did that.
And so did many other people. And the Senate Committee... apart from a little bit of a tip of the hat to drug courts, which I felt they didn't need to do, it was kind of out of step with the rest of their report. They did have a strong report about autonomy and the right to do anything that doesn't harm others, and they did make some good recommendations. Back in the Ledane days, it was only 1 out of 5 that recommended regulated sales. This time, 9 for 9. And I must say, the Compassion Club in Vancouver definitely deserves accolades for spending a morning with them, teaching them the proper use of cannabis. They ended up getting the recommendations for quality control, setting quality control standards. The Senate specifically said you guys should avoid listening to NIDA and go with the Compassion Clubs on quality control. And I think they deserve a pat on the back.
They do, and I remember they were very impressed with Hillary and Riel.
Yeah.
And hey, by the way, where is Hill these days? I haven't seen her for months and months.
Well, she's taking a bit of a vacation.
Oh, where is she?
It remains to be.
Hidden location.
Yeah, that's kind of on a need to know, but it's
that
one of
woman's
secrecy.
a hottie, if you ask me. I mean, a hottie in the total, pure admiring sense.
Well, and they're goddesses, all of them there.
I don't know. I think Hillary just rocks.
They're all quite attractive, and they're all quite
unattainable.
And they're all quite convincing, and they're all quite. They know their stuff. They know their stuff. So they're doing the good
So anyway,
job.
the Senate came out with a report on September 4th.
And
And they said pot should be legalized.
Legal.
It should be sold. It was like a gift. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and
in fact, the cops called it a gift to drug pushers at the beginning of the school
well, I mean,
year.
if you count us as pushers, we don't really push anything. People usually call us if we're dealing and
The
say,
thing is,
"Hey, you
if
got
pot,
really
if
good
pot were
pot."
legal, it wouldn't be in the schoolyard.
Well,
if you could go get it downtown. At
I think
Canada's
there'd
capital.
definitely be more rituals of respect over it. Now, we can also look at the Senate committee. Basically, they put out a very lengthy and detailed report, about 600 or 700 pages long, with a wonderful bibliography and lots of further information.
It wasn't 600-700. It was 200 pages.
No, it was massive.
Oh, was it?
The summary was 200 pages.
Yeah.
That's how huge it was. And then the House of Commons came out with their lame-ass report in December, which
nobody's read because there's nothing in it.
Well, basically, you have the same mentality of the non-medical use of drugs, as if you could ever drink a cup of coffee, ingest sugar, or any of these other medicines that you just don't have a doctor attached to them. But they're still drugs. They're all psychoactive substances. They all affect mood.
Sugar's not psychoactive.
It's a stimulant.
Well, yeah.
It is, and it's a very mild one with not too many repercussions except for tooth decay and increased heart, that sort of thing. But and you get sleepy, you get the crash afterwards. But apart from that, they're all medicines, whether you have a doctor there holding your hand or not.
Well, they're all therapies.
And well, they're all drugs of certain kinds, psychoactive substances, and we got to treat them all as such, whether we're getting them from our herbalist or from our physician or from from Joey down the street who happens to have a nice grow going on with some good organic high potency buds.
I don't know where we're going here with
that.
Well,
just saying that the Senate committee was open with their recommendations. We're going to see an open, inclusive economy arise from it if
Claude Nolan is our man of the year.
That's right. So, and you know what? Another accolade goes off to a guy I thought I'd never be given a thumbs up to.
Randy White.
No.
Okay.
Philip Owen.
Oh, yes.
Because that guy, when I first met him, he was total drug war.
He was.
And now he's turned.
Now
I guess after
he's not only normal, he's brilliant and erudite.
And
it's hard, and for me saying that, and that guy ran me out of town a lot.
That's right.
I mean, I was barred from the city for 1998, basically under his tutelage there. And he hated me, but now he doesn't mention me because I think it's been embarrassing that we're on the same side and in agreement. But he has said some most powerful and erudite and enlightened things. And I mean, not just, the drug war is bad. He knows why it's bad, and he can articulate in detail why it's bad. And
during the John Walters hijacking this November...
Yeah, he had the best lines there, Philip Owen.
Yeah, he managed to defend their sort of way to stigmatize us by saying that we're all dependent and we're in this dependency cycle and we're getting therapy for dependency. He pointed out that we're getting a choice between jail and treatment, so we pick treatment. Thus, we're in these dependency treatment centers, right?
Yeah, because there's a big argument going around the United States in the drug war advertising that somehow more marijuana users are in treatment than all other drugs combined. And that's simply because in New York City, as Philip Owen pointed out, 40,000 people in the last year have chosen, after being sentenced, treatment over jail.
Yeah,
and he said, and if, let's face it, anybody's going to choose treatment over jail. Although, you know what, I'm against treatment in a little
I wouldn't.
And I have an Ibogaine therapy house, and we treat hard drug users, but one thing is the public often says, okay, in order to have these safe consumption sites, we need treatment. Treatment is very expensive and endless. It goes on and on and on. It's the most expensive thing. If a drug addict, if they don't have the will to quit, they are not quitting. And I have unfortunately found that a lot of drug addicts want to quit because they simply can't afford the drugs. But if they had the money, they'd buy the drugs. And I realize more than ever after treating drug addicts, if we just give them the drugs free, it eliminates so many problems: the stealing, the property crime, the anxiety.
Well, the poor ones can get them free, and the rich ones can afford a reasonable habit. Say the cost of getting high is $1 or $2, no matter what drugs they are in a legal market.
I tell you one thing: the rich ones aren't going to be going to some clinic so they can get a $10 rock for free anyway. They're going to be buying it on the market and having it brought to them. I mean, the rich people can afford their indulgences without anybody knowing it. But then when you run out of money, that's when the problem starts, in my experience.
If we put the prescription drugs, the hard drugs like heroin and cocaine, in with the pharmacists, and then have opium dens and coca tea, and we have cannabis cafes and compassion clubs, I think we could use to learn all these drugs properly so that they just be tools. Tools in the toolkit of our heads.
Well,
and let's get to,